First of all, I just want to say thank y'all for having me. Thank you, Miss Judy, for reaching out. It's truly an honor and a pleasure to come here and share with you all this morning. You know, I love being in places with faces. I love being around people. My whole life I've been a people person. You know, I don't meet strangers. I love friends. I love people. And I knew when I was young that my purpose had something to do with people. It had something to do with connections. It had something to do with sharing. I've always been a sharer. So I guess I'll share with you a little bit this morning. So, yes, my name is Rickey Lewis. I'm actually a junior. My father was Rickey Lewis Sr. From Bessemer, Alabama. Him and my mother met at Alcorn State University. And I was born in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. I was born over in the Bay area we call back of town. I was born in the projects. And for some reason, the environment that I was in, it didn't sit well with me. I wanted more. I didn't know what I needed to do. I didn't know how I was going to get more, but I had a lot of hopes. I had a lot of dreams. We moved to Meridian, Mississippi, and I lived in the projects there in Meridian. And it was the same thing. It was kind of the same environment. A lot of people seem to be stuck. And I'm looking around, it's like, yes, this is where we are, but this is not what I want. I want something more, I want something different. But again, I didn't know how I was going to get it. I ended up moving back down to the coast around 1991, my 8th grade year. And I graduated high school there in Pass Christian High School. I went off to Mississippi Valley State University where I was playing football and baseball. And then in 1998, I was drafted by the Milwaukee Brewers. And I played professional baseball for 6 years. And after that career, I came back home. I started teaching at my alma mater, Pass Christian High School. And I've been teaching there for 21 years. So, my wife, she also works in the school system. She was a principal, now she's a federal programs coordinator for the district. We have 3 handsome young men. One is a senior in college, one is a freshman in college, and one is a senior in high school. So, that's that, right? Yeah, y'all know me and I can leave? Let's see.
Let's take this one. Oh, okay. Oh, yes, let's take, it's okay, just sit it there, it's okay. You can dance all over.
All right. There we go. So, I told you I had a lot of hopes and dreams when I was young. When I was 8 years old, I started playing baseball, and I decided I want to play professional baseball. That was number one. Right about that same time, I was in a assembly at my school. I think I was in the 3rd grade, something like that. And there was a book written that they were sharing with the whole elementary school, but it was written by an elementary school kid. And it was published and illustrated, and that just blew me away. I thought books was written by adults. It was a kid who wrote a book who was the same age as me, so I said, you know what? One day I'm gonna write a book. So Those two things right there have been on my mind forever. And I decided that that's going to happen for me. So eventually, I ended up playing baseball and became a professional. Eventually, I wrote a book. When I was 15 years old, I had this crazy idea that I wanted to teach. And not only teach, I wanted to teach at my high school after I finished playing professional baseball. So I ended up writing this book. And the title of the book is The Self-Directed Shift. And what this book was about, it's about personal development, it's about growth, it's about being the best version of yourself. Now, the self-directed shift is about a self-directed education. Because unfortunately, for me and my situation and circumstances, everything that I wanted, all of my dreams, all of my hopes, all of my goals, I didn't really have a lot of people pouring into me to teach me how I was going to accomplish all of these things. So I figured out that I would have to do it myself. So a self-directed shift starts with a self-directed education. And with a self-directed education is where you decide, this is something that I want, this is something that I'm going to accomplish, this is something that I need, and you focus on that thing with all your heart and soul. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's whatever career path you want to be on. It could be in your faith. It could be in your finances. It can be in any area of your life. All you have to do is focus on that area and do everything that you can to educate yourself in that area, and you will create a shift off of a normal path of growth, because we all are born naked in this world. We crawl, then we learn to walk, and then we're able to run, and we grow. We are not equipped with everything we need to be successful, but there's this natural path that we all are on that we get better over time. You know, your faith gets a little stronger as you go through life, as you come to church, worship every Sunday. Your finances end up getting a little better because you learn some hard lessons and you start making adjustments. Your relationships get better. You know, the first relationship, oh, I was a knucklehead, I messed up. Well, I'm not going to make that mistake again. But it gets like everything just naturally will get a little bit better. But that's everybody in this world is on that natural path. But if you want to create a shift, you have to start a self-directed education. Take faith, for example. You can't just come to church every Sunday and leave it here and then, you know, throughout the rest of the week, you don't really focus on the word, you don't focus on the message, you don't focus on the things that got you moving and got you going on Sunday. You say, you know what? I'm going to read more scripture throughout the week. Maybe I'll get on the faith side of TikTok. Maybe I'll watch some YouTube videos. Maybe I'll watch my favorite pastors or preachers, or, you know, I'm going to read more of the Bible. I'm going to do all of these. And all of a sudden, if you start doing that, things start increasing more than the normal path of growth. And it's a simple concept, and it can be applied to anything. I'm going to surround myself with people that are like-minded, because you'll become the average of the 5 people you hang around with the most. It's everybody that you're hanging around with is doing the same things that you want. And what would happen? You'll start seeing that growth. So, one thing that I understood was that I have to start with faith in everything. I have to start with faith. I have to start with a belief system. We have to start with a belief system, because if you believe that what you want is possible, it will lead you to do the actions to get you there. So I was never the best at anything coming up. A lot of people say, oh, he was so talented, he was good, I was never the best baseball player on any team I played on. When I first started playing baseball, everybody wanted to be a professional. Everybody wanted to go to the major leagues. Everybody was saying that. And I could tell that some people were just saying that. I believed that. I really believed that I was going to. And because I believed I was going to, I did the things every day that was going to get me there. So it made me work harder. It made me do the necessary tasks to get to the next stage, to get to the next level. And so I put that on your heart and your mind today. Do you really believe that you will have that thing that you desire? Do you really believe you will get to that place that you desire to go? Because if you don't really believe in it, if you're just saying it, you're not going to do the little things to get there. We all want to go to heaven, I would imagine, if you're here. If you believe that you're going to go and you will sit there, then you're going to do the things that it takes to get you there. And you will stop doing the things that won't allow you to get there. So it starts with your faith. If you believe, young people, if you really believe you're going to be that doctor, that lawyer, that scientist, that train conductor, that veterinarian, if you really believe that, you're going to do the things that it takes to get there. But over 20 years of teaching, and not just kids, but adults as well, I listen to people talk. And people who believe in themselves, who have a faith system, they walk a little differently. They talk a little different. You can understand it. Now, there are other people who say things, and I look and I'm like, I don't know. You know, you have to hold that inside of you. You got to carry that. You got to believe. And adults, when you're talking to young people, you have to believe in them. If it's something that they want, you have to believe in them and show them that you have faith in their faith. Because if you don't, you're going to kill that faith in them. I couldn't write a book. I can't spell. Spelling is tough for me. I spell phonically. However it sounds, that's how I'm writing. Yes. Grammar, not that great. So how did I write a book? So I've published 2 books, working on my 3rd, and I got like 10 in my head. How did I write this book? Every day, I wrote 1 page. And here's something that I teach almost every day of my life, whether it's in my classroom, whether it's amongst people at Home Depot or Lowe's. I teach this concept, this principle, because it's so great. Little things done consistently over a long period of time will end up being something big. Most people think to achieve something great, you got to do something great, you got to do something big, audacious. No, you got to do the little thing but do it consistently over time, and it'll end up being something big. So for 2 years, I wrote 1 page every single night. Every single night, I wrote 1 page. And after 2 years, there were 700 and something pages. I'm like, oh my goodness. All right. So then I broke it down. I started putting them in categories. And after I put them in categories, I said, okay, let me go through each one. And I started cleaning. This works, this doesn't. Yep, okay, if I change this. And so all of a sudden, I got this book. And people are like, man, how did you write a book? I wanted to write a book. I tried to write a book. I started. It was like little things done consistently over a long period of time ends up being something big. So you could take any task that you want to achieve and break it down into this little small bite that you can do. How do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. I ask my students, I'd say, can you walk to New Orleans from here? No, that's too far. Like, yes, you can. I say, what's the furthest you think you've ever walked? Like at one time. And some of them say, 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles. So, okay, well, you walk 5 miles. And then the next day, from that point, you walk 5 miles. Eventually, you will get there. But we look at this task, whatever it is in your life, we look at this task and we think, that's too big. I'll never be able to do that. Yes, you can, because somebody else already did it. And you don't have to do it all at once. Just a little piece at a time. 1 bite at a time. One scripture a day. Eventually, you work your way through the entire Bible. Just a little piece at a time. You don't have to be a superhero. You don't have to lift this huge boulder. Just do a little bit. So, self-direction, back to that. You have to live your life with intention. Everything needs to be intentional. I talk about the dead fish floating down the stream. Most of us in this world are dead fish floating down the stream. If you sit back and you think about, like, why are you here? Why do you work where you work? How did you end up where you ended up? Why do you have 3 kids? Why wasn't it 2? Why wasn't it 4? It's just, we allow life to just push us and take us wherever it decides. We're dead fish. And we think, well, that's just the way it works, but it doesn't have to be. Every single thing in your life can be intentional. You can decide where to live. You can decide how many kids. You can decide where to work. You can decide how much money to make. You can decide everything. The salmon decides, and the salmon flows against the current and goes upstream because there's a point that it is trying to get to. There is a spot that it's trying to get to. And even if that salmon doesn't get to that spot, he's on the path, he's on the journey, and that is success. The progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. Being on the path that you choose versus what the world chooses for you, that is success. Because everybody's not going to win the race. Everybody's not going to accomplish that big thing that they set out to accomplish. But if you're on the path, if you're trying, if you're giving it your all, if you're giving your personal best, you're successful. And that's what we need to be striving for, is how do I become the best version of myself? How do I become successful? It's by being intentional, making things happen. Young man, do you know that I can predict the future? I can. I can predict the future. And I'm not talking about, I can see what's going on 20 years from now, but kind of. Because I can make it happen. I can make it happen. And I try to give that power, especially to young people. Sometimes older adults kind of get set and it's, but you can too, at this point. Because we can't change the past, but we can predict the future. Starting today, you can decide what you want your life to look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. And if you have the faith that it will be that way, you will do the things today to get there. Because we live as a residual effect of the things we do or have done in the past. So your life today is based off of what you did yesterday, the day before, and the year before, and the decade before. It's a combination leading up to today. So the point you want to get to in the future is going to be based off of what you do today, and tomorrow, and the next day. So you get to decide. You get to predict the future by making it happen. I told myself I was going to write a book. I told myself I was going to play professional baseball. In 1993, I met this girl in school. She was the most beautiful thing in the world. We didn't date, we were just friends. But I looked at her and I told her, I said, one day I'm gonna marry you. And she laughed it off. And 10 years later, we were married. Now, we didn't go on our first date till 7 years after I told her I was gonna marry her. But I knew she would make a perfect wife and a perfect mother to my kids. I just decided. You have a choice. The life you want to live, your faith, your direction. There is so much power inside of each and every one of you. If only we could just tap into it. If only we can have the faith in me telling you that you have it. And you get the faith in yourself to know that whatever it is I want to achieve and accomplish, whatever my goals, whatever my dreams, I can have it. Because you can. There's nothing that you can't do. So, I'll leave you with build a faith system. I don't know where it is right now in each and every one of your lives, but build a faith system, a belief system that guarantees that everything that you want, everything that you need, everything that you hope for, all of your desires can be met, because they can. I have two different books that I've published. The Self-Directed Shift, which I wrote for everyone. It has just about everything in it, every topic, every area. There's something in there for each and every one of you. My second one, Creating the Shift, was directed towards the youth, towards young people. I teach from that book every day. I appreciate y'all for having me here. It's been a pleasure. But before I go, I don't know if it's possible. If anybody have any questions or anybody want to ask, want to powwow anything, I'm open before I give the mic up. Anyone? Yes, ma'am. What's your name? Well, one thing that I like that she said, she's doing research. She wants guinea pigs. She's doing research on guinea pigs. That's the biggest thing. See, we are information rich and wisdom poor. We have all the information at our fingertips, in our phones, on the computer, the internet. Like, your biggest thing is you research and you learn everything you can, everything you need to know about guinea pigs. So when you get your guinea pigs, you're going to be a successful guinea pig parent. So, right. So you're going to have a few of them. All right. Anybody else? Who? Yes, ma'am.
Do you have siblings, and did they also have the same outcome in their lives?
No. I do have siblings. I have a sister. So, that's a tough one. I would almost say my sister is the opposite. And it's remarkable because, when you grow up in the same household, in the same environment, it's like, how is it that one person goes this direction and the other goes that one? It's on the individual. Some people are motivated by different things. Some people run away from things. Some people run to things, and it's tough because I've seen this time and time again where you'll have 3 or 4 siblings in a house, and 3 of them are going the right direction and the other is not. And it wasn't necessarily the parenting, it wasn't the environment, it was just something in each one of us has to turn on or has to turn off. And unfortunately, I'm still trying to bring my sister along, trying to bring her along, but it's a difficult task. And the biggest thing is, I believe there are some innate things inside of us that some of us, it's pretty obvious, but either you have it in you or you don't, but if you don't, it can be developed, but somebody has to recognize that those things need to be developed. So that's been my mission and my goal for the past 20 years, is trying to pull out of young people the things that it takes to be successful, because I understood it's your IQ and your aptitude is not it. Your ACT score, your grade point average is not it. Like, I was never I talked about, I was never the best on the baseball. I was never the smartest in the classroom. I'm not the best writer, but I figured out how to win. I figured out how to be successful. I figured out how to be good at just about everything because I just want to be. That's the first is the desire, the want, and then having the faith. I'm going to keep going back to having the faith, the belief system that, yes, I can do that. I will do that. I'm going to do that. It's already done. In my head, it's already done. Those books are already written. They're just not on paper. They're just not in digital format yet, but they are in my head. They're done. I just believe that. I walk around like that. And that's how you have to be. But someone has to push the button on those who the button hadn't been pushed. And so we got to recognize that. We got to recognize that this young lady, this young man, like, we got to give them a choice, an option.
Well, they first have to know they've got a choice.
They have to know that they have a choice. And like a lot of the kids that I grew up with in the projects, they didn't realize that there's something outside of this. They didn't know that. And even with my mother used to say things like, that's the way the ball bounces. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Well, we were born poor. We were born this way. It's going to be this way. Like, she believed that. So she was right. I believed the opposite. So I was right. So it's whatever you believe. Like, if you believe you can, you're right. If you believe you can't, you're right. So we have to change the narrative. We got to change the way we think about what it is. Because whatever you think is your truth. Whatever your belief system, whatever your faith, like that is your truth, and you will act accordingly. Your actions are gonna follow what you believe. So if you believe in the negative side of things, then your actions will lend themselves in that negative light. So, having me, I appreciate y'all.